Welcome back to First Chapter Friday. Happy Friday! This week's book is realistic fiction, and it's a book that I actually saw at Target and thought, hey, I wonder if this is a good book. And it's also part of a series. So if those are things you like, this might be the book for you. It's called The Z Files by Tina Wells. I'll be honest, little truth telling. I picked up this book thinking that my daughter would enjoy this book because her name is Zoe. It starts with Z, and I thought, oh, it's like they're calling it Z, like it's an initial Z, but it's a little different. Listen up. Hello, London. Mackenzie Z, so Z is short for Mackenzie. Mackenzie Blue Carmichael has never eaten fish and chips, never slept away from home longer than a few nights, and knows nothing about London. But after her family relocates for her dad's new job, 13-year-old Z leaves her old life in California behind for a new one in England. Z lands in London and at her new boarding school, The Hollows, hoping to find new friends and jumpstart her music career. All of that proves to be difficult between a chilly roommate, a BFF who's gone MIA, that means missing in action, and distractions from the poshest and cutest student in her grade. Poshest means like fashionable. It's pretty much what I think of when I think of posh. Fashionable, cool. I don't know. I don't know if I like the word cool, but so even though this is not a picture book, it does have cool end papers. Pretty cool there. With the Golden Gate Bridge from California and a big, oh no, that's the Towers Bridge from the Tower of London. There's a double-decker bus and music notes and a big Ferris wheel and a stamp with a picture of the Queen. So those are all London things, it looks like. All right. The Z Files by Tina Wells. Chapter 1. The See You Later, in quotation marks. You think they have umami burger in London? Mackenzie Blue Carmichael asked her mother as she surveyed her room. Z never thought she'd say goodbye to her personal sanctuary / recording studio / research laboratory / headquarters for all things Z, but here they were leaving on a jet plane to London in just 1 week. I'm not sure, darling, Mrs. Carmichael replied, handing her phone to Z. Darling? Z wondered when all of a sudden her mother turned into the Duchess of Cambridge. Since when do you say darling? Since... Oh, don't make fun, said Mrs. Carmichael. Now, what I do know is that I made a master list of all the amazing places to eat, drink, and play when we get there. Z expected to see the Notes app pulled up on her mom's phone with a list of restaurants, museums, and shops in London. Instead, Mrs. Carmichael had a browser window of goop.com open to a list written by Gwyneth Paltrow, recommending her favorite haunts of the city. Is she even British? Z asked of the website's founder. Doesn't matter. She's been there 100 times for movies and photo shoots. Ah, Z replied, makes her an expert. Z slumped on her bed while her mother rolled in 2 oversized, brightly colored suitcases in an attempt to prod her eldest daughter to start packing. London, Z said with a sigh. Do they even have palm trees? Does the sun even shine? Why couldn't Dad get a job closer to home? Because this is a better job, Mrs. Carmichael said, waving her hand for Z to give her phone back. Her curly, sun-kissed hair was swept back into a high bun, and her freckled cheeks were rosy from the effort of packing. He's the big boss of a major advertising agency and will be doing most of his work with European companies. Consider it an adventure. Mrs. Carmichael stacked Z's suitcases close to her bed, while Z got up and opened the closet door to survey her belongings. Several pairs of Veja sneakers. They use organic cotton and recycled plastic bottles in their shoes, Z told her mom when she bought them. Customized with rhinestones, patches, and hand-painted designs, all artwork done by Z herself, lined the bottom of her closet. Her clothes hung snugly on the rack, crammed in after years of collecting old concert t-shirts, vintage dresses, and other costumes for the Beans, the band she was in with her friends, and their gigs and talent shows and local showcases. Book bags and other totes hung from the side wall and special ceramic hooks Z designed on a rainy weekend, while caps and other hats perched above the clothes. Stacked on the floor near the shoes sat a number of mismatched boxes filled with years of personal artifacts that Z now had to open, sort, and repack, or, sigh, throw away for transport to London. So I hope you are getting a mental image of that closet, right? Jam-packed with stuff lined up, shoes all over the bottom, things hanging all over, right? So there is a little illustration in here with the suitcases and the boxes, but when you peek in the closet area there, it doesn't look much like what they described. So sometimes the drawings don't really go with what is described in the story, right? All right, stepping out of the closet, Z looked around her room. The sun shone in through the bay window opposite her four-poster bed. The rays beaming across the window bench and onto her bright blue beanbag created a warm, toasty spot to relax. Z's phone buzzed. The screen showed a notification for a message from her Brookdale bestie, Chloe Lawrence Johnson. Chloe, still on for tonight? I'll bring snacks. Z and Chloe were having one last sleepover before she took off for London next week. All summer, Chloe and Z maximized their remaining time together. They had ice cream at Jenny's Ice Cream and tacos at Furious Tacos in Venice. They hung out at the Grove and walked the Venice boardwalk. They rode bikes and met up to write songs and research celebrity deaths. Chloe wanted to be an editor at Vanity Fair when she grew up. Now, for their last night together, they needed to make a schedule for long-distance phone calls and video sessions so that they can stay in touch. It was going to be a long but fun night. Girl, why do you have to move so far away? Chloe asked as she came in the front door of Z's house wearing a red tracksuit, her hair in two thick French braids that bounced off her back. She took off her custom Stan Smiths in the entryway and gave Z a hug. I know, Z said. London is cold, and do they even recycle there? I'm sure they do. They're not savages. England has been around centuries longer than the U.S. Chloe handed Z a bag filled with smaller bags that were organized with snacks. Crackers, pretzels, popcorn bites, and Z's favorite cocoa nib-covered caramels. I brought all of your favorite snacks and some for the plane ride over, Chloe explained. Bestie, that's awesome, thank you. The girls walked through the family room past boxes full of small furniture and appliances that Z's mom has already packed to ship over to their new English home. They entered the kitchen where Mrs. Carmichael was hovering over Z's 18-month-old twin siblings, Phoebe and Connor, with her phone in her hand. The twins were dressed in matching outfits, a strategy that helped Mrs. Carmichael amass 10,000 followers on her Instagram, @2byCarmichael. Seriously, Mom, you are doing so much damage to not only these poor children's egos, but our planet. What's with you buying the twins so many things that they'll only fit into once? It's for the gram. Hello, Chloe, my dear. How are you? Mrs. Carmichael greeted, hugging Z's friend. Hi, Mrs. Carmichael, Chloe replied, then turned to the babies in their twin white linen jumpsuits. Hi, little friends. I'm sure you must be sad to see Z leave, Mrs. Carmichael said. Of course, but we're going to keep in touch with as many conference calls and text messages as possible. It'll be like she never left. Z grabbed 2 green juices and some strawberries from the refrigerator and shut the door. She walked by the twins playing with the toy truck between them and kissed their little foreheads before leaving the kitchen with Chloe following behind her. They climbed the stairs to the second floor and headed to Z's bedroom. Chloe plopped her book bag down on Z's sheepskin floor rug and took out her iPhone, iPad, laptop, and camera, all the devices one needed to manage the activities of a soccer star / investigative celebrity reporter. Chloe had played with Z's band, The Beans, for 2 years, but her soccer schedule became more demanding ever since she joined a traveling team, The Galaxy. Now she barely had time for school and her Instagram feed. Okay, let's make sure we have all of our accounts synced, Chloe said as all screens on the 4 devices lit up. Squad? Yes, Z replied. Zoom? Yes. WhatsApp? Yep. TikTok? Yes. Voxer? Yes. Call Me? Yes. TXT? Yes. Wait. Z retyped the password on her phone. She always forgot the login for TXT. Yes. MSSG? Yes. I think we're good, Chloe declared. We'll never be out of touch. How do you focus with all those notifications going off all the time? Z teased. Years of training, Chloe said. Z took a seat in the sunny spot on the beanbag and sighed. I'm going to an entirely new life in London. New friends, new school. What if I don't like it? Then you'll just come back, Chloe said. I can't come back without my mom and dad. You can always come and live with me and my parents. They'd love to have you. The two munched on strawberries. Would Chloe and I share a room, Z thought. Did you say goodbye to Landon? Chloe asked of Z's longtime crush. Z continued to look down at her popcorn. No, honestly, I don't want to say goodbye to anyone, Z said defiantly. Not Landon, not you, not my house. This whole thing for me is just see you later. Yeah, Chloe said, much later. Z took a few swigs of her green juice and wiped her mouth. She looked around her room at photos of her Brookdale friends and finally at Chloe again. She opened the bag of snacks Chloe brought and popped one of the cocoa nib caramels in her mouth. "I'll be back for Christmas," Z said, not that much later. After pizza with the family, Chloe and Z changed into their PJs. Chloe in a pink onesie she bought after seeing Yara Shahidi wear the same one on Instagram, and Z in an Old Beans t-shirt and a pair of gym shorts. "Why buy new pajamas for nighttime when you can just recycle clothes you don't wear in the daytime?" Z said with a shrug. They spent all night choreographing Snapchat and TikTok dance videos, some of which they shared, others they reviewed on their phones and laughed at together. Then they watched old movies. Mean Girls is a classic, Chloe said, and eventually passed out in front of the TV in the family room. The next morning, Chloe's mom picked her up after breakfast, since Z had to start packing and run some errands with her mom. Z offered Chloe a few mementos from her closet she didn't think she'd need in London. "I'll take that denim vest with the piece patch we wore during our 70s themed Beans performance off your hands," Chloe said. Finally, they said their see you laters. "It will be just like you still live close by," Chloe said. "Right," Z said. She waved, then closed her front door before her best friend could see tears well up in the corner of her eyes. So moving away is going to be a little bit difficult for Z. So if you like stories about friendship and adventures, this might be the book for you, because that's really what's going on in this story. It's more about friendship and how Z has to kind of get used to some new things, and they're not all bad. Some are good, some are not so good, right? Just like life. So happy Friday. Hope you enjoyed this and keep reading.